Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to General Biology 1 class. Today we are going to discuss about cell structure and function. I'll be presenting my screen, although it's my first time to present in to record my discussion using PowerPoint. So let it go. I got this slide from slideplayer.com. Cell is the fundamental unit of life. As we know it, cells compose our structural and functional unit of living organisms. Meaning to say, look at this picture of a lion. Without cell, do you think the lion can run? Without cell, do you think the lion has this kind of hair that it has? It can grow to its size? No, right? Because of course, cells are the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. In other words, it make up living things and carry out activities that keep a living thing alive. So just like us, consider ourselves a living thing. Because when we say living thing, a living thing can reproduce, a living thing can convert food into usable energy, a living thing can grow, can move, can breathe. All these class are, defined, kumbaga, as a living thing. And if you consider yourself a living thing, of course we are a living thing, then we are all made up of cell. For example, right now, if we scratch our skin, we notice that there are white part appearing, right? So these white part class are what we call dead cells. And if cells will not undergo division process, so it will not be repaired yung skin natin. So in other words, cell make up living things or all the things that we have right now and carry out activities that maintain our life and at the same time repair whatever we have there in our body. Cell theory is a collection of ideas and conclusions from many different scientists over time that describe cells and how cells operate. In other words, when we say cell theory, it is a collection of many different ideas or a theory in general. It is still subject for revision. So it's false to say that a theory may not be subject for revision because, again, a theory can be subject to revision when new ideas or knowledge appear, especially in science. Then we have three principles or postulates in cell theory. Number one, all living things are made up of one or more cells. So, meaning to say, we are a living thing. This plant that I have right now is a living thing. Therefore, we are all made of cell. Number two, all living cells arise from pre-existing cells by division. So in the process of division, we have mitosis and meiosis. When we say mitosis, it is the division of body cells, whereas meiosis is the division of sex cells, ay yung mga gametes natin for fertilization to happen. Okay? So in reproduction naman, meron tayong tinatawag na two types of reproduction: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So when we talk about sexual reproduction, it would involve that gamete. And that gamete, the sperm cells and the egg cells that we have, will not form without the process of cell division. So in other words, all cells that we have arise from pre-existing cells. Third, the cell is the basic unit of structure and function in all living organisms. So ang buhok natin, ang magandang mata, ang skin, ang ating pangangatawan, all of these class are all made up of cell. And without cell, you will not exist, of course. And you will not should not compare yourself na, uy, napakaganda niya man, ang pangit mo naman. No, because technically if you reduce to the simplest unit of life, which is cell, kahit ano pa siya feeling mo kagandahan niya, we will all look the same inside the lens of the microscope. Now, the theory of the cell timeline. In 1665, Robert Hooke discovered cell, and we know it that cell that Robert Hooke discovered was not a living cell. Well, in fact, it's just a cell wall, a remnant of a plant cell or a dead plant, kumbaga. It was only in 1674 when Anton van Leeuwenhoek observed the living cell, which he called an animalcule, resembling to, of course, tiny organism or animals, which he got from her cheeks, from the pans, and from samples of water that he got and investigation of these organisms, and that is why he was considered as the father of microbiology, or microbiology, the study of microorganisms. In 1883, Robert Brown discovered a nucleus, and we know it that nucleus store genetic information or DNA. Robert Brown discovered that when he observed pollen grain in the process of Brownian motion, which he called as these pollen grains move across the gradient. Then Felix Dujardin in 1835 discovered that fluid content of cell, which in 1839 J.E. Purkinje named that fluid content of cell as protoplasm. Between that year, 1838, Matthias Kleiden proposed that all plants are made up of cells because Matthias Kleiden is a botanist or the one who studies about plants. Then, eventually in 1839, Theodor Schwann proposed that all animals are made of cells. So I am an animal, your friend is an animal, he or she is an animal. So we are all made of cells. And in 1845, proposed Carl Heinrich Braun proposed that cell is the basic unit of life. In other words, yung living things are all made up of cell, and cell is the basic unit of life. In 1855, Rudolf Virchow proposed that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. So yung cell kailangan mag-divide, and by that division, cells will reproduce and grow in number. Now, the organisms are classified into unicellular or multicellular. When we talk about unicellular organism, these are organisms that is made up of one cell and is called a unicellular. Like for example, this euglena, which is an algae that can photosynthesize because it converts carbon dioxide into oxygen. So Paramecium naman, this is a very helpful bacteria, especially in cleaning our water. It eats small organisms. At the same time, it regulates bacteria and other microorganisms that can pollute our water. And yeast, for example, here is very helpful in our food. The insulin, the food that we have are all, made possible because of yeast. And these three helpful bacteria or organisms class, algae bacteria, kumbaga, are all made up of unicellular or meaning single cell. Another type is multicellular organisms. These are organisms that are made up of more than one cell. So they are multicellular, meaning they are made up of more than one cell. Like for example, our plants that we have here, the animals, yung friend mo na hayop. So, multicellular pala siya. At saka yung fungi naman, of course, is a multicellular organism. And take note, class, okay, in our evolutionary history, you may think that fungi are similar to plants, but no. Well, fungi are technically similar to hayop mo na friend because fungi are actually heterotrophic. Okay, H for heterotrophic, A naman for autotrophic. When we say heterotrophic, these are organisms that need other organisms to make them alive. They are not capable of producing their own food, unlike autotrophic that are capable of producing their food in the process called photosynthesis. So gets? So this one are called producers. This one naman are called consumers. Ayon. Next, multicellular organisms under the microscope. We can see here the leaf cells. Cell wall is very visible here. The muscle cells, which are straighted in appearance and helps, of course, in, movement. Ayon. And the size of the cells also vary. Just like what you got there. Merong maliki, merong maliit, merong katamtaman lang. So all that we have, like the cells, vary in size. So, for example here, smallest cell is mycoplasma with around size of zero point 0.1 micrometer. By the way, when we say micrometer, that is the unit used to measure size of a cell, which is around 1/1000 millimeter. And the largest cell naman is the ostrich egg with 18 centimeter size. And most cells are very microscopic, meaning they're very small, but some may be large and can be seen even without the aid of the microscope or the glasses. Ayon. The size of the cells in humans, the smallest cell is the sperm cell with around 5 micrometers. So in sperm cell here, we can see the flagellum that helps the sperm cell o yun, propel or mag-move pakadto sa uterine wall ng ating female. The largest cell naman is the ovum cell with around 120 micrometer. And take note class, yung mga lalaki, wala tayong eggs. Okay? Wala tayong itlog. Only yung mga babae. Baka ma-confuse. So yung itlog nyo dyan, tinatawag nyo yung testes na nakakapag-help to produce our sperm cell. Okay? Only females have egg cell or the ovum cell which we can see even without the microscope. Kasi parang size niya yan, parang isang grain of sand, ganyan. Then the longest cell is the nerve cell with 1 meter in size. Napakahaba niya. Haba siya. And of course, the nerve cell is very important in conducting impulses. That's why pag tinamba kada, ma-feel mo ang sakit tungod, you have a nerve cell. Now, the shape of the cells also vary. Variation depends mainly upon the function of that specific cell. For example, the human RBCs here are circular, pabilog siya, and biconcave. Medyo ganyan yung appearance for easy passage through human capillaries. And it contains the hemoglobin or protein that carries oxygen. And oxygen is very important, of course, for our body. Okay. So, meron tayong tinatawag, it's a fun fact, meron tayong tinatawag na hereditary disease. Tinatawag din na siya nga sickle cell anemia. So, what happens is, in the sickle cell anemia, yung amino acid sequence natin is nadi-disrupt. Meron tayong tinatawag na point mutation sa amino acid sequence. So, yung amino acid sequence, for example, yung 6th position yan, yung sequence or ang pagpasunod yan from 1 to 12th position, yung ika-6th position niya, sinasubstitute siya ng tinatawag nating valine. So that amino acid substitute glutamic acid, which in turn becomes sickle cell, at saka yung result niya, naging distorted yung shape ng ating cell. At kasi dahil distorted yung kanyang shape, of course, it will not carry oxygen. At the same time, it will not perform its function. So take note, napakadelikado talaga ng tinatawag nating sickle cell anemia. Not to mention that it can be inherited or pwede siyang mapasa from your mother or from sa inyong mga family line. Then the nerve cells, another type of cell with this structure or shape, are branched to conduct impulses from one point to another. So it has the cell body, the axon terminal, dendrites, kumbaga, that helps to conduct impulses in order for us to feel, in order for us to experience something that we want to experience. So those responses that we have in our body are made possible because of the nerve cell. And this is the shape of that nerve cell. Sana mo yan pag ganito yung shape ng nerve cell? Siyempre siguro hindi natin makakakandak yung impulses, walang mga branch or axon terminal. So what will happen? So, di ba? So, kumaga, yung shape ng ating cells also has its own function. Kagaya natin, yung shape ng ating fingers that we have right now has its own function to grasp things. So, technically, pag yung shape ng ating fingers, pa-square yan, or pag ganito siguro yung shape ng ating fingers, siguro nahawakan, hindi ka makakahawak ng mga bagay. So technically, yung function natin is also limited because of our structure. In other words, yung structure natin will determine its function of an organism. That's why in evolution actually class, when we talk about some concepts, just to touch on concept of evolution, yung mga organisms that need to adapt in their specific environment has to develop trait that can help them adapt or modify their parts or structure. So yung parts na makaka-help sa kanila, yun yung mas ginagamit nila. Yung parts na hindi naman nila nagagamit, nawawala lang siya eventually and becomes, modified. The human WBCs naman can change their shape to engulf the microorganisms that enter the body. Take note, sila yung mga police natin. That's why pag merong foreign invaders o merong mga harmful viruses and bacteria, sila yung nag-engulf, kinakain nila. Tinatawag natin yung phagocytosis. engulf nila, ayon, para hindi makadamage sa ating cell or sa ating body. So ito sila yung nag-help sa ating antibody or tinatawag nating natural immunity. So yung antibody natin, nangyayari yan kasi kapag yung antigen, yun yung kalaban ni antibody is pumasok sa ating katawan. So magproduce normally ang ating cell ng mga antibodies that can defend us against that. For example, in COVID-19, if we counter that, of course, we will have immunity against it if we have the antigen for it. Or vaccine. That's also how vaccination works, which we will tackle sooner or later. And take note, class, yung WBCs natin, merong maraming lysosomes. And we all know it that lysosomes naman are made of hydrolytic enzymes that are capable of degrading or breaking, engulfing yung mga tiny microorganisms or yung mga tinatawag nating cell debris. Okay? Next, yung structure of cell natin was made possible because of the advancement of microscope. From the first compound microscope, which was developed by Zacharias Johnson, until ngayon, meron na tayong electron microscope. So yung magnification from 2,000 times naging 500,000 times. So yung advancement ng microscope, ayun, for example here, makikita natin na yung light microscope natin, I don't know if you can see it there, but the light microscope that we have, it's all this function, ayun, at saka yung makikita natin using the light microscope, we have 40 times magnification, this one, and this is an Elodea aquatic plant, and this 400 times magnification. Makita natin dito yung cell wall. Then yung transmission electron microscope, which is of course another electron microscope which have higher magnification, wherein we can see the herpes virus and the plant root cell. Much detailed yung makikita niya kasi mas higher yung magnification. At saka yung scanning electron microscope naman, ito yung makikita natin sa scanning electron microscope, 200 times magnification ng mosquito head and 2,000 times magnification ng mosquito head pa rin. And then yung fly eye, na para siyang, na para siyang tinatawag natin sunflower. Yeah. And then yung scanning electron microscope neuron inside of your stomach, surface of your tongue, maraming bacteria kapag hindi ka mag-toothbrush. So, mag-toothbrush ka para hindi bad breath. Ayun. Yung yeast, yung red blood cell, yung platelet, yung white blood cell, yung pollen, makita natin much closer siya using scanning electron microscope. And versus TEM or transmission electron microscope, ito how viruses leave a cell. Ayun. Tapos na nila yung kanilang mission na maggamit yung cell. Yung cell natin damage na dito. Ayun, mag-leave na yung mga virus, mga liit-liit na yan, nag-produce na sila, which can we see much closer and detailed using SEM, another type of electron microscope with higher magnification. In other words, advancement in microscope have led also to made as possible to see other structures and the organelles of this cell, kumbaga much closer and clearer. The structure of a cell as seen under the electron microscope is called the ultrastructure. From the word ultra, diba? Super structure, much closer ang kanyang structure. Okay, ito naman yung ating animal cell. Let's just recall some parts here ng ating animal cell. This is a typical animal cell wherein we can see here nucleus. Ayun, ito yung nucleus. Ito yung nuclear pore. Ito yung cell membrane natin, ng nuclear membrane ng ating animal cell. Nucleolus, of course, ito rin, na siyang nag-assemble ng ribosomal units, then throw into the cytoplasm where new ribosomes completely form. At saka it will attach to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, a channel or network comprising smooth and rough, wherein sa rough, andyan si ribosome, sa smooth, wala si ribosome. Ribosomes are helpful to synthesize protein. And that newly formed protein will go now to the next organelle, which is the Golgi body or the Golgi apparatus, which packages and processes that newly manufactured protein. And from there, it will deliver that to the vesicle, which will deliver those proteins and molecules outside the cell. And this class, this wall, this gatekeeper that controls the entrance and the exit of our molecule is what we call the cell membrane, which which is made up of phospholipid bilayer. Then we also have here the mitochondria, this one, that serves as the powerhouse of the cell because it converts glucose at the same time oxygen into ATP or adenosine triphosphate, an energy currency. Then we also can see here centriole, which are very important. This organelle is very important, especially in cell division, because it will pull the sister chromatids towards opposite pole during the anaphase part, wherein proceeding to the next process of cell division, which is telophase and cytokinesis. Then we can also see here lysosomes, this one, lysosomes, which are contained by hydrolytic enzymes that can engulf burn out organelles, viruses, and bacteria that make damage our cell, and even break down larger particles into simpler ones. Then we also have here the cytoskeleton comprised of microfilament or filament and microtubules or halotubules. Cytoskeleton, of course, provides the structural for the organelles and allows movement. Then we can also see here the cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like fluid wherein all the organelles are suspended except the nucleus, which has the nucleoplasm. Then we have here the smooth ER, which does not contain the ribosomes. Next, we can now proceed to the plant cell. So all the other organelles found in animals are also the same in plant cell, except that plant cells do have this type, this one. This is a large central vacuole that helps in maintaining turgor pressure sa cell wall as it push, kumbaga, the cell wall, maintaining the turgor pressure, and making our plants to appear turgid and rigid. So makikita natin, no, yung tanim natin, no, medyo mas matigas siya. Mafe-feel natin yung tigas siya. Kasi ito yung cell wall, ayun, ay nami-maintain ang kanyang turgor pressure. However, pag nagiging lanta na siya or lalaya siya, kasi siguro hindi natin nabinyagan, nalaya yung tanim, so nagiging lesser yung water na nasa-store at the same time nagiging lesser na rin yung turgor pressure. That's why magiging desiccated yung ating tanim. Then we also have here the chloroplast, which has mga stock. Ito, yung mga chloroplast natin, meron siyang mga stock na yan. Tinatawag natin yung um, grana. At saka ito yung nagko-convert ng ating light energy into glucose, C6H12O6 plus oxygen as a byproduct and water vapor. Then we also have here another organelle na different sa plant is yung cell wall. Sinabi kanina ito yung made ng polysaccharide na cellulose na nag-maintain ng rigidity or yung structure. At ito yung structure din na nakita ni Robert Hooke when he discovered cell or a dead plant cell. Now, moving next is our another organism, which is the bacterial cell. So yung ating organism, aside sa unicellular or multicellular, meron din tayong tinatawag na prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So yung mga prokaryotic natin, example dyan is yung bacteria. Pag sinabi natin kasing pro, meaning before or karyon, meaning kernel or nucleus. So before nucleus. So, wala silang true nucleus. So, instead of nucleus, meron silang nucleoid na storage ng single DNA nila. Ayun, dyan yung kanilang DNA. At saka yung plasmid naman, yung extension ng kanilang DNA and then. Then, unlike eukaryotic like plant cells and animal cells, yung bacteria, walang makikita ditong endoplasmic reticulum, wala din ditong makikitang Golgi apparatus. Kumbaga, yung makikita lang natin dito is ito, yung capsule. So, yung capsule ng bacteria, it's a very important part ng bacteria or structure ng bacteria that protects it against, macrophages na kumakain like yung mga WBCs or white blood cells. So, it protects from, engulfing that bacteria kasi ito nagiging slime, nagiging madanlog siya. So, hindi siya ma-engulf ng ating mga WBCs because of this capsule. At the same time, itong capsule rin ang nagsisilbing virulence factor or yung the way how pathogenicity of bacteria can be much magiging napakalakas. So, pag sinabing pathogenicity or virulence, how it will cause disease, kumbaga. Yung cell wall naman ng bacteria, ito yung cell wall. Ayun. It classifies bacteria into gram-positive or gram-negative. Plus, because it is rigid, it also would somehow classify bacteria into different shape. Like the rod shape, meron tayong rod shape na bacteria, meron din tayong tinatawag na round shape bacteria. So yung mga shape ng bacteria because of, cell wall yan. At saka yung cell wall din natin, class, ito yung pag mag-take tayo ng antibiotics, for example, penicillin, okay, or amoxicillin that you take normally, di ba? Yung ginagawa ng antibiotics, sinisira niya yung cell wall para yung bacteria hindi makapag-reproduce. At the same time, it could be specific or general, depende sa antibiotics na iti-take mo. So what will happen is that during times na, for example, nag-take ka ng gamot na for 7 days, sabi ng doctor, you should take this for 7 days. Pero hindi mo siya natapos i-take within that period. So what will happen is that yung ating bacteria, magkakaroon siya ng resistance to antibiotics. So yung cell wall niya, merong part ng kanyang DNA dyan wherein mag-mutate. Okay, mag-mutate ang kanyang DNA at saka magde-develop siya ng resistance. At yung mga resistant na bacteria, kapag mag-take ka another ng amoxicillin, hindi mo sila mapapatay kasi resistance na sila sa antibiotics na tinake mo because of that one, cell wall. Yung plasma membrane naman natin, ito yung nagpro-protect of course sa ating bacteria surrounding, yon number 3. Okay? And yung cytoplasm, similar din siya sa ating other eukaryotic cell. Except that the cytoplasm contains the food granule there, the ribosomes, and all the rest of the organelles. Then meron tayong ribosomes na nagsisynthesize ng protein para sa bacteria and yung nucleoid. At saka ito, yung pilay, yung mga tusok-tusok. Okay, natusok ka na ba? So yung tusok-tusok ng bacteria, ito, yung pilay niya, ito yung nagsisilbing attachment. Ching, 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 para makapag-exchange ang bacteria ng genetic material from one bacterium to another bacterium. Then meron din siyang flagella. Ito, yung flagella ng bacteria na nag-help sa bacteria to, to move, to propel. Kagaya ng ating sperm cell, meron din tayong flagellum. Ayun. So as you can see here, yung bacterial cell natin, na it lacks, membrane enclosed organelles like Golgi body, the nuclear endoplasmic reticulum. Ayun. Now, the structure of the cell. If we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across the 3 features that almost every cell have, like plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. So all activities inside a cell and interaction of the cell with its environment are possible due to these features. So we will discuss this one by one. So the plasma membrane class here, the plasma membrane is extremely delicate and elastic, kumbaga, living and semi-permeable membrane. Bakit semi-permeable yung ating plasma membrane? Kasi it is made up of phospholipid bilayer. Yung phospholipid bilayer natin are made up of 2 layers of lipid molecules or fatty acid in which protein molecules are floating. It is made of fatty acids. It is also made of glycerol. It is also made of carbon bonded to phosphate groups. Pag sinabi nating phosphate group, ito yung proteins natin, okay, wherein ang monomer ng ating proteins tinatawag nating amino acids. So ito yung lipids na ito, okay, which are oils, kumbaga, like that. Tsaka yung nag-recreate ng phospholipid bilayer natin. Pag sinabi nating phospholipid bilayer, para siyang sandwich class na pinatong wherein yung bread natin, meron siyang palaman at saka another bread sa ilalim. Yung phospholipid bilayer natin, it is composed of hydrophilic na head or region wherein water-loving. So, palangga niya ang water. Okay? Whereas, yung sa kanyang insides or the middle region here are the hydrophobic tails. Kumbaga, they are water-fearing. Kumbaga. So, yung hydrophobic at saka yung hydrophilic na region also is very important, especially in selectively permeable permeability. Ito rin yung carbohydrates na nag-attach sa proteins na yan na nagsisilbing transporter. Meaning, pag sinabi nating transporter, dyan dadaan yung mga molecules na pwedeng dumaan lang. Kasi hindi lahat pwedeng dumaan. For example, the C6H12O6 that we have or the glucose that we have cannot easily pass through, okay, or cannot even pass through the selectively permeable membrane. Kasi it could, although it's polar, it could pass through the hydrophilic na region, but the hydrophobic parts will not allow it. For some molecules to easily pass through, it needs to have transporters or it needs to have carriers para makapass through inside and out of the cell. And that function class or that feature ng ating plasma membrane or ng ating cell membrane allows it to have this function to maintain the shape and size of the cell, just like our cell wall, to protect the internal environment of the cell, and more importantly, to regulate the entrance and exit of substances in and out of the cell, maintaining the balance or the state of balance na tinatawag nating homeostasis. Another important organelle is the cell wall, which is made of cellulose, polysaccharide siya, made of many saccharides, the hemicellulose, plasma membrane, and the pectin. So it is non-living here. The cell wall is not non-living and the outermost covering of plants and bacteria. It can be tough, rigid, and sometimes flexible. So as like just what I mentioned kanina, yung cell wall ng bacteria, it is important in determining its shape. So yung cell wall made of cellulose and provides definite shape, strength, and rigidity. Also, sa tanim natin, as mentioned kanina, it prevents from drying up. Kasi of course, ito, magiging tanim natin, it prevents from drying up of the plant or desiccation of cells. Nucleus naman natin, tinatawag ang nucleus as control center kasi nasa kanya kasi yung genetic material or DNA. Diameter niya nasa 10 to 25 micrometer. It is present in all cells except red blood cells and the sheath tube cells. So it is well developed in plant and animal cells. And undeveloped naman sa bacteria and blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. So most of the cells are uninucleated, having only one nucleus. But few have more than one nucleus. Like our skeletal muscle, kasi ang dami niyang mga pa-activity, so kailangan more ang mga nucleus dyan. So yung nucleus natin, ito yung kanyang specific parts. Meron siyang nuclear pore, wherein ang nucleolus that assembles ribosomal units, at pag yung ribosomal units are ready na, dito lumalabas sa nuclear pore, papuntang cytoplasm. Then itong nuclear envelope, it encloses our nucleus. Of course, it protects like the cell membrane. And we also have here the chromatin. Okay, chromatin, it is yung cold parts ng ating DNA. And the nucleo or condensed part ng DNA, nucleoplasm naman, just like the cytoplasm that we have. So it is colorless, dense sap, yung nucleus natin, na meron siyang nucleoplasm. Ito, yung colorless, dense sap. Nucleoplasm contains the round-shaped nucleolus here, network of chromatin fibers. Fibers, ito yung mga fibers na nakikita natin, are all made up of deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA, at saka yung protein histone. Okay? These fibers condense to form the chromosome during cell division. So itong mga fibers na ito, magko-condense siya. Okay? Magiging sister chromatid siya. Ito yung X natin, no? Parati nating X. Hindi yung X na kilala mo, but yung X na nangyayari during cell division, nakikita natin during cell division. These are condensed fibers ng chromatin. Okay? Ito yung nucleus natin, at saka yung DNA natin, makikita natin, no? Yung DNA natin is double helix. Okay? Meron siyang mga alternating nucleotides, itong mga color-color na ito, na pinipair through each other. So, yung DNA din natin is meron siyang gene. So yung gene is very important in heredity as it, will be vital factor in determining the traits of a specific organism or character or yung makikita nating feature, maputi, matangkad, mahaba buhok o ganyan because of your gene. Yung histone naman, ito yung protein wherein siya naman yung nag-help para yung DNA mag-fit inside our nucleolus or I mean inside our nucleus. Okay, wait lang. Saan yung picture? Ayun. So kasi pag walang histone dito, hindi siya makaigo sa aton nga nucleus. So it has to have the histone protein which will allow for the DNA na mag-wrap around it. Okay, these histone proteins will wrap the DNA so that it could, somehow fit in our nucleus. And at the same time, when it chromatin, if it's uncoiled, when it condense, it will become the chromosome. Ito yung X na nating sinasabi. Okay? Na siyang makikita natin especially sa cell division. It is joined by the telomere here. Ayan. So yung function ng ating nucleus is the control center of all cell activities like tinatawag nating metabolism. So ito yung mga cellular activities, protein synthesis, growth, and cell division. So yung nucleolus synthesizes RNA or assembles the ribosomal units which constitute our ribosomes, and it stores also yung nucleus ng genes which is our hereditary information. And take note class, yung DNA natin, very vital ito para malaman natin yung placement ng mga organisms sa tree of life. In other words, para makita natin kung sino ang nagiging ancestor or descendant natin. So meron tayong tinatawag na mga, parang tree of life wherein we can see our, ancestors or the lineages of the different organisms, kung baga, nakikita natin iyan because of DNA comparison. So ito yung mga tinatawag nating paano siya malalaman if saan tayo mas closely related. Okay? So meron din tayong cytoplasm which is a jelly-like formed by, 80% of water. Ayun. So present between the plasma membrane and the nucleus. It contains a clear liquid portion called the cytosol wherein all the organelles are suspended except the nucleus. Okay? The endoplasmic reticulum naman is like a channel or a network of tubular and vesicular structures which are interconnected. Some parts are connected sa ating nuclear membrane, ni nucleus, while other parts are connected sa ating cell membrane. Okay? So there are two types. Meron tayong smooth ER and the rough ER. Ang only difference to smooth and rough is that yung smooth ER, wala siyang ribosomes na naka-attach, while rough ER, merong ribosomes na naka-attach. So yung function ng endoplasmic reticulum, parang mother of mother siya. Yun yung ma-consider ko. Kasi sa kanya nanggagaling yung protein, yung membrane proteins, na very helpful in producing other organelles at the same time in package which will be packaged or which will be processed by the Golgi body. So again, the endoplasmic reticulum, especially the RAF ER, synthesizes secretory proteins. Ito yung mga proteins, of course, that will allow specific proteins to be produced in our body or in our cells. And membrane proteins naman, these are proteins that can be helpful in other membrane or other organelles to form. Like for instance, the lysosome that we have. So the SER synthesizes lipids for cell membrane in producing what we call the peroxisome, which is another organelle which was not discussed earlier. Yung peroxisome, siya yung nagde-detoxify, especially ng mga alcohols, drugs and poisons in the smooth ER. And it numbers of the peroxisome class are higher in our liver cells. So that's it. In muscle cells naman, SER store calcium ions, which is very important, of course, in our muscles and it's beyond. The Golgi body, eto, parang meron siyang tinatawag nating folds. So yung folds na makikita natin sa Golgi body, tinatawag yung cisternae. At meron siyang dalawang part. Yung cis face niya na nakaharap at saka yung transface niya, okay, yung transface niya naman na situated near the cell membrane. Ang function ng Golgi body after na-produce ng endoplasmic reticulum yung mga secretory proteins at saka yung mga membrane proteins na iyon, ipapack niya yon yung mga materials na yon from ER at isusort niya yon yung mga materials. Then it would deliver that synthesized materials to various targets sa cell. It could be inside or outside of the cell using the vesicle. Then it produces the vacuoles. Siya yung nagproduce ng vacuoles, yung secretory vesicles, the plasma membrane, and the lysosome. Ayan. So Golgi body at work, how does it work? It's like this. Yung nucleus, it contains the genetic material, right? Like the DNA, okay, that makes necessary code for a specific protein na masisynthesize sa a rough ER, and then eventually from that specific secretory proteins or membrane proteins, it will go next to the Golgi body. The Golgi body here, using the vesicles here, you can see the vesicles here delivered to the Golgi body. The Golgi body here will package, will sort out, will process the newly manufactured proteins, secretory proteins, and membrane proteins, and deliver it outside or inside the cell using the vesicle, or can also form into vesicles, and also could also form into the lysosome. Ayon. So ano nga ba si lysosome? Kanina pa sinasabi. So ito si lysosome, hydrolytic enzyme siya, meaning it contains hydrolytic enzymes which are capable in digesting large molecules. So siya rin yung nagpro-protect para siyang maliliit na mga kawani ng pulis na nagpro-protect against foreign invaders like bacteria and viruses. So hindi basta-basta makaka-damage yung bacteria and viruses kasi andyan si lysosome. Pero take note, bakit kaya ni bacteria mag-still thrive? So soon, we'll find out ano yung ginagamit ng mga bacteria na ito or mga virus para maloko yung ating cell at para makapag-damage pa sila. So yung degradation of worn out organelles is also a function of the lysosome. At saka yung mga dead cells which perform autolysis can also can also happen because of the lysosome. So, ano nga si vacuoles? Next, si vacuoles. Si vacuoles, of course, stores water, including waste product, and maintaining osmotic pressure. When you say osmosis, of course, water movement sa ating cell, and it stores food particles in amoeba cells. Then, it provides rigidity. Kanina nga, nakita natin sa plants, no? Very turgid and rigid yung ating tanim. That is because of the cell wall at the same time, yung presence ng ating vacuole. Wait lang, nasabal na siya. Okay. See, next, ano nga ba si mitochondria? So, tinatawag natin parati mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. But do we really know exactly why mitochondria is considered the powerhouse of the cell? Well, because yung mitochondria natin, meron siyang dalawang membrane, inner and outer membrane. Sa inner membrane, dyan nangyayari yung ATP production. Yung outer membrane, hindi dyan nangyayari kasi ito yung nag-enclose ng ating mitochondria. That's why tinatawag siyang double membrane. Okay, yung mitochondria. Sa mitochondria din, take note, meron siyang sarili niyang DNA na nakakapag-help or responsible for enzymatic actions. So that is why yung masasabi natin hindi siya under the command of the nucleus because it has its own DNA. And take note class, fun fact, yung ating mitochondria, namamana natin ito sa ating mother, sa ating mother's egg cell, o di ba? Kasi what happens sa sperm cell na mitochondria pag after fertilization nawawala yon yung kanyang mitochondria na detach ayon. So yung nabibili na lang is yung mother mo. That's why in tracing somehow mitochondrial diseases, it's important also to to trace it with your mother. Then yung ribosome meron siya dito, of course, and the way how mitochondria produce ATP, it converts first glucose, okay, and oxygen. Meron siyang may tinatawag na mga initiator, for example, until eventually it will go to the different mga intermembrane system ng ating mitochondria sa inner membrane until finally it will go to the ATP synthase. So soon, I will have another discussion on how mitochondria produces ATP in the process of ETC, or electron transport chain, at tinatawag na proton pumps or proton pumping of the mitochondria in the different electron transport chain. Okay? So yan. Now, next is yung plastids, are double membrane bound organelles found inside plants and some algae. So, they are responsible for activities related to making, storing food, at saka meron tayong three types of plastids. Meron tayong chromoplast, chloroplast, at saka yung leucoplast. When we say leucoplast, is still divided into eleuplast, amyloplast, and proteoplast. Ayun. So yung chromoplast from the word chroma or color, it is a plastid that produce and store pigments. It is a color. Also, responsible for different colors found in leaves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. So, for example, yung carrot natin, meron siyang pigment na carotene. Ayun. Xanthophyll naman sa mango and the lycopene naman sa tomato. Ang leucoplast naman is that leuco for storage, plastids that are colorless and store foods. They are found in storage organs like our fruits, our tubers, and seeds. So sooner, we will tackle about the different modifications sa ating tanim, especially sa parts ng mga plants. Ayun, exciting. So yung potato tubers natin that stores starch, of course, the maize grains that stores protein, and the castor seeds for oil. Then the chloroplast naman, ito yung parts ng ating chloroplast which is important sa tanim to convert light energy into chemical energy in the form of food or glucose C6H12O6 plus oxygen as a byproduct ng water vapor. Then meron siyang tinatawag na parts. Itong mga bilog-bilog na ito, tinatawag natin siyang thylakoid. Yung stock ng thylakoid, isang stock ng thylakoid, tinatawag natin granum. Many stocks of, tinatawag na grana, plural, grana. And stroma naman, ito yung kanyang liquid portion na katumbas sa matrix ng ating mitochondria. So yung inner membrane at saka yung outer membrane. So it's still a double membrane, bound organelles. So hindi pwede na single membrane, it's a double membrane. So it converts light energy, provides green color to leaves, stems, and vegetables. Next is the centrosome, which is very important in cell division kasi meron siyang mga microtubules. These microtubules class are very hollow tubules, okay? That is very necessary, especially in cell division. It is a membrane-bound organelle present in near the nucleus. Consists of two structures called the centrioles. So na merong hollow cylindrical, as what we've said, microtubules. They are arranged, these centrioles class are arranged into the right angle. Ayun. So right angle, of course, ganyan. The function is to form spindle fibers which help in the movement of chromosome during cell division. So yun nga, tinatawag nating movement or it allows sa process ng prophase, di ba, condense pa lang yung mga chromosomes natin, and then eventually metaphase wherein they will align at the metaphase plate, anaphase wherein they will be separated. At saka yung pag-separate nila ng mga sister chromatids made possible because of this one. Also help in the formation of cilia, which is a hair-like projection, and flagella, of course, kanina yung sa bacteria, at saka yung sa sperm cell natin. Cytoskeleton naman are made of microtubules, microfilaments, and the cell membrane. Yung microtubules natin, hollow tubules made of protein called tubulin, at saka yung filaments natin called actin. The function of this one is to determine the shape of the cell, to provide structural strength to the cell naman, at saka responsible for cellular movements. Ayun. So ano nga ba yung difference ni prokaryotic cell versus eukaryotic cell? Let's discuss. So isang main difference nila is from the word pro, meaning to say before, and from the word karyon, meaning kernel or nucleus. So in other words, pro meaning before, nucleus here is undeveloped. Whereas eu, from the word eu, meaning true, karyon, kernel or nucleus, it has nucleus. Instead of nucleus, the prokaryotic cell or bacteria has the nucleoid. Only one chromosome is present, whereas here, more than one chromosome. Ano nga ulit si chromosome? Ito yung condensed part na or structure ng chromatin. Yung chromatin, yung mga fibers na iyon, which contains our DNA. Okay? Na finifit in naman inside the nucleus ng protein na si histone. Okay? So number 3, it lacks membrane-bound organelles. Okay, like yung endomembrane, ER, okay, endoplasmic reticulum. Then here, the eukaryotics have membrane-bound organelles. Size ranges from 0.5 to 5 micrometer, but here, size ranges from 5 to 100. That's why if there's a question says, sino ang mas madami compared sa body cells and bacterial cell? Yung answer would be bacterial cell. So yung bacterial cell class natin 10 times more sa ating body cells. But not all bacteria class are bad bacteria, because there are bacteria which are actually good bacteria, helps us digest our food, provides also support, and at the same time protects us from other harmful bacteria in our body. So examples of prokaryotic cell, we have bacteria and blue-green algae, and examples of eukaryotic cell naman are all other organisms like plant cells, animal cells. Animal cells naman are generally small in size compared to plant cells, which are generally large in size. Cell wall is absent in plant cell. Plant seeds are also absent. Vacuoles are smaller in size, and centrioles are present. Whereas in plant cell wall is present. Of course, cell walls provide turgidity, rigidity made up of cellulose. Plastids are present. Plastids can be chromoplast, leucoplast, storage plastids, or chromoplast are for color. And vacuoles are larger in size and more in number in plant cell, because again it provides turgor, turgor pressure, which is very important for cell wall to maintain its rigid structure. Then centrioles are absent here. We all know that centrioles very participate especially in cell division. Ayan. So thank you everyone for listening. I hope if you have time, no, you can somehow search and study na in advance our activities for the next class. And if you have any questions so far, don't forget to comment it sa ating comment section. If you're new to this channel, kindly like and subscribe at the same time. Share for more people to view it. But again, I don't own the PDF file. It's from the slideshare.com. And again, class, if you have any questions so far and clarifications, we may discuss it during our online class. So have a good day, and I hope you're still doing well. God bless. Wa mama. Bye bye.